In this clip, I'll be showing you how double vowels become single vowels. Now, earlier in the early clips, we've learnt about double vowels, we learned about single vowels. But sometimes what happens in the Arabic language, a double vowel, let's say two dhammas, become a single vowel on a word. And or two fathas become a single fatha. And sometimes you have two kasras which become a single kasra. And this is what we're going to be discussing here, how this double vowel becomes a single vowel. So let's just drag this down and let's just give an example. So if you have the word, for example, kitab. Kitab in the Arabic language means book, and kitabun, okay, so it's the double vowel at the end of the word. Now there's two things that cause the double vowel to become a single vowel. That's two things. Let me just write that down. So two things. Okay. One is alif laam. Okay, alif laam. And the other is word or letter at the end. Word letter at the end. So let's see how this works. So let's say, for example, we have a word and we put alif lam onto the beginning of it. So here's put alif lam onto the beginning of kitabun and al kitab. This alif lam in English we translate as the book. So it makes it definite. So kitabun becomes al kitab. Now what happens is, because this alif lam has appeared at the beginning of the word, one of these vowels has to disappear. So one of the vowels goes and you're left with only one dhamma. Al-kitabu. So you wouldn't say al-kitabun. Or let's say if we had two fathas, one of them would disappear, we're left with al-kitaba. Or let's say we had two kasras, then one of them would disappear and we're left with al-kitabih. Okay, so alif lam appears on the beginning of a word. Okay, one of the vowels has to go. Alif lam and double vowel can't exist together. Now the second is if a word appears at the end. So let's say we have kitab again. Kitab, okay, book. And let's say we add a word at the end, or letter at the end. So let's say we add a word. The word can possibly be, let's say, Zaydin. Zayd is a person's name, a man's name. Kitabu Zayd. So this word has been added onto the end of kitab and it has the meaning of. Okay, that's just something we'll be discussing in later clips. But kitabun Zayd, it basically means the book of Zayd. Now what happens here is, because this word has been added onto the end, one of these vowels must drop. So one of these vowels must drop, and so only one can exist. So you can't say kitabun Zayd, you have to say kitabu Zayd. And that's if there's a word. Now let's say if we have a letter, let's move this down, and a letter is added onto the end of the word. So we have kitab again, and this time we add hu. Okay, so let's just add the word hu to the end. Now hu is a letter of the Arabic language and it has the meaning of his. Okay, it's like a possessive pronoun. It has the meaning of his. So let me just change this again. So we have kitabun hu. Kitabun hu. His book. Now the double vowels here can't exist again. One of them must go. That's because a word or letter has been added onto the end of a noun. So we're left with kitabu hu. Or if it was two fathas, then one of them would go and say kitabahu. Or if it's two kasras, then one of them would go and we're left with kitabihu. Now kitabihu, okay, you can pronounce it kitabihu or kitabihi. I mean, that's not really a real problem here. Okay, now one thing that I want you to understand is that just because a word is added onto the end of a word, it doesn't mean that we don't discuss this part of the word. Okay, like in future clips I'm going to mention about the changing of vowels. So remember that this ba, it still remains the end of this word. Even though another word has been attached to it, this still remains the end of this word. And even though there's this hu here, the ba is still considered to be the end of the word. Okay, and just remember that for future clips. So let's just summarize what we've done. Two things cause double vowels to become single vowels. One of them is the alif lam, and the other is a word or a letter adding or being attached to the end of a noun. Hope you understood that. If you got any comments, please leave them in the comments box.